communicate to the YouTube without leaving Zoom to prepare setting up for my YouTube Direct. It looks beautiful. Okay. So what I want to do tonight is talk about our next steps in looking at AI software. And I want to look at also software that will help us with research. So let's review a couple of things. So when's our exam? Hiko, you know when our exam is?
You're asking me? I'm
I'm
not
asking
sure.
you. Okay, well,
I
let's
could
look it up.
check.
Let's
It's like
check.
the first days of March. Like I don't remember if it's like 3, 4, 5. One of those.
Okay, so let's get exact date. Lucy, what did you get? Did anybody who unmic yourself and let's know. It's important because we don't want to be on the 5th, right? When it's March 4th, we don't want to come on the 5th and say, oops. Right? So anybody find it? When's our exam? Max, when's our exam?
I think isn't it on March 5th? Isn't that correct?
No.
I honestly don't know
Well,
off the
well,
top
do
of
you
my
have a
head.
calendar, Max?
I do.
Okay, so
But
look at your
not
calendar
it's
and let's
not
make sure
on
it's
me right
on
now.
there. So
I
let's
could
not make up
Yeah,
stories.
it's the 4th. I
uh,
added on my
It's
Oh, yeah,
calendar.
the
4th. So
4th,
it's
yeah.
March 4th. At what time? At this time. And is it in person or online, Max?
It's in person. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah,
in
in person.
In person. So let's not forget that. So it's in person. It's in the lab. And there's 2 parts. There'll be multiple choice, similar to the quizzes, and there'll be open-ended questions. There'll be 2 or 3 open-ended questions. And people are asking me, well, this is a tech class, we're using AI. Can we use AI on the exam? And what I'm telling you is, I want you to use AI to prepare for the exam. And what I'll be giving you is, we'll do a more formal review next week. But I want to start thinking about research AI. And instead of putting some content and exploring some content where AI can give us some summaries, some questions, what I want to do is, as I say, use our own dog food. And for the next assignment, I want to use the research AI software to prepare us for the exam. You got that, Evan? So instead of putting in other material, we'll use our exam material to prepare ourselves for the exam. Okay, so let me share my screen. We'll talk about what's due, when it's due. Those of you that are not sure when something is due, hopefully you will put that in your calendars and I don't have to say, well, maybe it's the 5th, maybe it's the 6th, maybe it's sometime, maybe we don't have an exam, that we'll know exactly and it's the top of we don't have to memorize it, but we need to be able to press onto it. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and everybody sees it. So we know that we are live. We know that it's a little bit of delay here. And let me go to our regular section. And in my regular section, then is Cat. How do we tell what's due? Where do we go? Cat.
You go to the what's due
Oh,
section.
wow, that's a great idea. So we go to what's due section. We always can see then the what's due section. And the first thing that we see here is Friday, February 20th, which is this Friday. Everybody should have signed up to attend this WIC seminar. We are going to be, I'm an academic partnership with WIX, and we're going to use WIX for our project, which will be after the exam, where you're all going to be AI consultants in a certain domain, whether it's finance, whether it's marketing, whether it's healthcare. So in order to do that, I need everyone to attend this seminar, this webinar. It's an hour long. It's from noon to 1. And I bet in this case, Kiko, it's not, they're going to be running it not like I do where I call in everybody, you have to show your face. In this case, I think you can even log in through your phone, but you need to log in with your miami.edu email. So maybe what you could do, Lily, is when they get online, make sure that they are using their miami.edu account, and we'll take it. If you have any issues with that time slot, please contact Lily. Otherwise, I need everybody to be there, because what are they giving us? They're giving us a code that will allow us to use their business plan, which is a paid plan, and it will allow us to get a free domain name, to get more storage space, and to basically use their AI to help with software development and also websites. So we're going to be standardizing on that. So that's a requirement. The other thing that was due today, well, it wasn't due today, we extended it to last Friday. It was the screen recording assignment. And then we also were required to read about the data knowledge management. So let me do this first and go to the audit section. I'll go to the assignment groups. And under the assignment groups, if I go to group 0, which are my TAs that are giving it, you see under the individual screen recording assignment, it would be that sample, but in this case, I want everyone to make sure that in their screen recording group assignment, you list everyone's name, first name and last name, and the software they used. Even though in the screen recording assignment, you have it here of Pavi, Lily, Juan, and Soren with what software they used, go ahead now and copy this of your own and put it right here, edit it, and put it right there so you can have it. So everybody do that now. Make sure that that is available. So just copy and paste that so you know that that is available. So when I go to the screen assignments, I can see it. So if I go to assignment groups, I go to group 1, where just do the same thing. Okay. So did you do that, Max? Did you see under a screen group assignments, you need to have everybody's name? I don't see it in your group.
So for the screen recording well, I could talk to you about this after class.
Okay,
but
let's talk about that after class. Fine. So anyways, in terms of this, at least I have these done and put in that part. Okay, so we have that as well. So we should be able to see that in each of the groups. So each group, I shouldn't have to say that should be done immediately. Okay. So now when I go to my regular one, I should be able to see that this was done on the 13th. And then for next week, next Monday is your new class assignment. Now there shouldn't be any reason. People are saying I'm delayed. I need more assignments. We're giving a week in advance to do it. It's plenty of time to do it. And I even think for the next class period, you should be able to finish that. So in this case here, you'll see that I'm doing chapter 4. Chapter 4 is the last. Somebody needs to be shut off their mic. Can you see, Lily, if there's somebody here that has their mic on that I don't?
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Gets irritating. So anyways, in the audit assignment here, that you can see that information security. On Wednesday, I'll be going over more detail of that. So you need to do chapter 4, which is our last chapter before the exam on information security. Next Wednesday, I've invited the Chief Information Security Officer of our university to come and give us a talk about what is his challenges in terms of security. And then you can even, it'd be good for even everyone to try to generate some questions and discussions with him. He's really very knowledgeable, and they kind of hide themselves in the background. So I'd like to do that. Also, I have an additional reading for you, which is cybersecurity in higher ed, risks and best practices. Explore then the cybersecurity risks in higher education and the best practices that we use to do what? Protect our student data, protect the research we do, protect our systems. And universities are very vulnerable to this. So I'd like it. This was done by a company called SentinelOne, but I don't want you to read the advertisement, but I think it's a very good article on what are the issues of basically what are the risks and what are the best practices. And I'll go over this on Wednesday with you, but you can see is what is cybersecurity in higher education? What are the risks? There's a lot of them. We're all on a network. Something called ransomware attacks, just like, they kidnap somebody and put them away. Now they're basically kidnapping your hard drives. And then basically, how do they get our data? What kind of data breaches? What are attacks? Where we can do those? And what are the best practices we can do for cybersecurity in higher education? What are the frameworks that are important to give? I'll go over that as well on Wednesday. And basically, I want you to read through this and what is the support. And this was great. You see these at the end? Kiko, you see these questions. Why is cybersecurity important? What are the biggest cybersecurity risks? Why is higher education a prime target, and how university protects student data breaches? I'm going to give you the questions, a number of questions in advance, but these are the type of questions I would give you, Kiko. And you would, I said there's 2 parts to the exam. One is multiple choice and one are the open-ended. And you can see here's some beginnings of these. So we know that that's available to us. So basically then what is the what's due is the next one is the audit assignment called AI Power Research. And this is an individual assignment. And in doing this, we have chapter 1 and TG1, TG2, chapter 5, and chapter 4. And if you look at this, you need then for group 0, you will then need another folder. You can even do that now. Those of you that are more with it here, to create then a folder called AI Powered Research Assistant Assignment, Individual, name it like that. But underneath, everybody in your group needs to choose a chapter other than chapter 1. And you can see here that Anastasia, who's a TA of mine, created this and she was chapter 1. So there's no need for you guys to do chapter 1. And under research assignment, you can see she says that she is chapter 1, gives her name, and notice what she has, a Zoom cloud recording link. And then we're going to be using the software called Notebook LM. There's an audio portion and there's a video portion. There's a Zoom AI comparison, right, like we've done. And there's what is nice about this software, it can create multiple choice questions for you. You'll be doing 5 multiple choice questions. And the beauty here is what, Kat, is it will also produce an answer key for you. So even on the multiple choice questions, we'll do a review of it starting next week, but you'll see that we may even take some of these questions and put it in the exam. So the software we're going to be using is called Notebook LM. Let me just take this off. I don't want this. And basically for me, I already have Notebook LM already staged here. And you can see that you can create a notebook on any subject area. They have some that they give featured notebooks that you can make, you can share with the world. And then you can see here, for instance, these are from the chapters. So you can see, for instance, data knowledge management. Remember we discussed that last time? You can see on this side, you put in your sources. On this side, you get chats, just like ChatGPT. And what is amazing is on this side, you have a studio where you can do an audio overview that will generate an AI podcast based on your sources. You can generate an explainer video that's presented to you by AI. You can do a mind map. You can get reports. You can do flashcards. You can do a quiz. You can do betas of an infographic, a slide deck, and data tables. So what I want to do is you to get familiar with this research assistant, but let's use the chapters where we need to study for the exam. So we get the 2 birds in one. Why take some material that is irrelevant for us? Take material that, guess what, March 4th, right? Jake, is when we have an exam. Why not use the next assignment? So everyone needs to make sure, and you can even text everybody now, you need to pick a chapter, TG1, TG2, chapter 5, and chapter 4. Each of you have to have another chapter. So
except for chapter 1, you said, right?
Except for chapter 1. And guess what? Anastasia did it for you. So you can look at hers, and she did the Zoom, and she has a tutorial on how to use it. So let's go back to our example. Where do we go? It says it's in the audit assignments, and go to the audit assignment. Pick up the PDF, and it says even here, this assignment will guide you through. You should record the process as a tutorial for others to learn. And you'll use what? You'll use Zoom. You'll upload the PDF of the textbook from the chapters and choose a different one unless your group has 5. I don't think we have 5 people. Do we, Lily?
We did, but now we don't.
No, we don't. Okay, good. So we don't. So everybody's going to choose one. You're going to explore its interactive features. You're generating multiple choice questions and recording your session with Zoom to capture both the screens and audio. And that part, so whatever we learn is it adds on to it. So if you've skipped some things before, that's why it's not going to work in this class. And it's still time that this may not be the class you want to be in. So you want to go over this rubric, Lily, for me a bit?
Sure. Do you mind just like scrolling down like to the middle portion of it?
Okay. Here?
Yeah, that's good. So you're gonna start kind of like how you start any assignment where like Notebook LM is connected with Google, so you're gonna log into your personal account. Because Notebook LM will not allow you to share like video and like you're gonna be creating a video and an audio message, and Notebook LM will not allow you to share if you use that. So we're gonna log in. I would suggest that you guys talk amongst yourselves and get like an understanding on who's gonna cover what chapter to avoid any conflict. Because it's really important, especially for this assignment, that you don't like do the same chapter. So one of you guys will be covering TG1, another one TG2, etc. Make sure not to cover chapter 1 because Anastasia already covered that for you guys. Can you scroll down a bit more, Dr. Rush? And so basically you're just going to create your account with your personal email. And then once you have your account set up, you're going to like set up like your Zoom meeting like you would any other assignment. So you're going to start with like whatever chapter that you use, you're going to go into the Blackboard and get the PowerPoint doc for it. And you're going to make sure to convert that PowerPoint presentation into a PDF because Notebook LM won't like accept something made from Microsoft, so you have to make sure that you use a PDF or it won't take it. So that'll be like you just like convert it to PDF and then you add it as like a source for your Notebook LM area. So you just give it a minute, and like it'll add like the source and you can use that source to create things within the studio. If you watch like Anastasia's video, it's kind of like Notebook LM is set up into like 3 different sections. So it has like one like off to the left, there's a section for sources. In the middle, it's like a chat where you can like ask Notebook LM questions about like the source that you used. And like you can ask it to make like multiple choice questions or short answer responses, which is a part of the assignment. And then to the right, you'll see that there's a studio area. In that studio area, we're going to have you create an audio overview and a video overview. Make sure for wait, Dr. Rush, can you scroll back up for a second? Is it for the audio? Yeah, the audio overview, we're going to ask you make a deep dive. Actually, I think for both. And sometimes that takes like a bit of time. And so I would suggest that you guys like pause the video and wait for it to like load because depending on your cellular connection, it could take like a solid amount of time for it to load. And so you're gonna do that, you're gonna create those. And then you're gonna like go into the audio generation and ask it like questions. So it's really important when you start like sharing your screen that you like there's like a little button on the right hand side that says share sound for your like Zoom recording like when you're sharing. So it's very important that you turn that button on so like when we're watching your videos we can hear what like the Notebook LM like AI chat is saying. So basically you're just like gonna do that. You're gonna ask it a couple questions. You're gonna ask it to make 5 multiple choice questions. And then within the chat area. And then you'll just finish up your video and start your submission. For your submission, we want you to include your 5 multiple choice questions that you generate in the chat and an answer key. We want you to include your audio link and your video link. make sure to have it like accessible to anyone with a link, because if Isa can't see it when she's grading, then that's going to be taking out of like your grade. So, that's really important. Make sure it's available to anyone with a link. And then include your AI companion summary, and then add in a couple of um like challenges or like any like reflection on the like how you like Notebook LM and if you had any trouble with it. Make sure when I haven't updated the rubric yet, but make sure when you're naming your submission, you name your first portion of your submission the chapter that you're doing. So for instance for Anastasia, it would be chapter 1.
This is how
Uh,
Anastasia did chapter 1 AI powered research assistant, right?
Yeah.
So put the chapter 1 right there so you know. And this one also will make sure that everybody has a different chapter. So
Right.
communication is key here. Do you know,
Especially because we had like a couple of issues with people like using the same like screen recording assignment software like from the last assignment. And so like it's just like important for you guys to know have like clear communication with your groups, especially because like for your final like project for this class, which is like the largest like chunk of your grade for this class, you're going to need to have good communication with your group.
you'll be doing a lot of this again, but as AI consultant. So this is,
Right.
I think, a good way in which you can see how it's supposed to look at the end is you'll have these recording links. And what's important on these recording links, this is the traditional Zoom that we're all aware of, right? When I open it up in a new tab, right, I'll see Anastasia that she did her Zoom. Basically, she did chapter 1, and you can also view it that you can see it. So when you see her chapter 1, notice I want to see then you're in the corner there like always. She's going to be discussing it. You want to be able to hear it. Also, she'll be starting to look at the software, and you can see that this is where she was talking about that this is the sources. This is where you can do the chat. This is the studio here, and she's going through each part. And you want to create it when you're doing your part. You'll be using your chapter, but you want to create this as a way in which it is a tutorial for people not aware of Notebook LM. And you can talk about how it can be used in not only as a student studying, but it also can be in business when you have it. And notice in this case, she also shows with the Notebook LM. Now it's important, what I wanted Lily to make sure that everyone knows is this is our regular Zoom recording, and everybody knows you don't want to have a password. Everybody's done it for a number of times. But you also get an audio and video link in Notebook
Wait,
LM.
Dr. Rush, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
So we also like make sure it's a cloud recording. Like I've had like a couple of emails of people
Really?
saying that they messed up and they did a local recording. And like I'll forgive for this like for the first like offense, but like we need to have it as a cloud recording.
Right. Because you don't want to be there's advantages to do local recordings, but for our assignment, we want to make it as a Zoom cloud recording so that it can be shareable, and you want to make sure that it's shareable. And of course, Lily, interrupt me anytime, you know that. For the Notebook LM, notice it's called Notebook LM Audio Link. You want someone in your group, I call it a group buddy, to check these links. Because if it's not shareable and it's in your account, you do not know it's not shareable. You can play it, but others cannot. So you want to make sure when you have it, have someone else open up that link to make sure that it's working successfully. So you see this right here? Kiko, do you see this on the screen? Is Kiko there?
Yes, I'm
Do you
here.
see it on the screen? What does
Yes,
it say?
you need X.
Right. So is this done correctly?
Nope.
No. So when you see this, but you, Kiko, if it were on your notebook LM, since it's in your account, Kiko, you would see it. Do you understand? So it's
Yes.
important for you to have someone else in your group, like Ludovica, that she checks you, you check her. You understand? So if you see this, then you have to go back and you have to make it a shareable link. So that's the key here, that if you look at any of the content then, and on this one, the notebook LM, basically in this case, and even if it's not shareable, you can put it in, but you have to say not shareable, and then you have to put in one that is shareable, because there's no way in which can you imagine how embarrassing it is that you send it to a client and they can't see it. Sometimes you want it to be limited, that you don't want to have your links, if it's proprietary information, you don't want it. So if you open up this link, you see that these two links aren't working. So what it turned out was that Anastasia, in the beginning, she used her email account. You see that? In this case, Evan, she used her, and what do you need to use is you need your personal, because basically you don't have authority. So they want you to have authority. So you want to make sure that those notebooks work properly. What else? Anything else? So you can basically look at Anastasia's way of her presenting is the way you do. The only difference here is this variable chapter 1 will be TG1, 2, 4, or 5. No big shakes. So, any questions? Anything else, Lily, you want to add?
Oh, for your submission, make sure like on the folder where you put your submission, you add like which chapter you did. So like for Anastasia, she did chapter 1 and then she put her name.
Right.
It's
Just
like
like you did
this,
for the OBS, like you did
yeah,
for your screen recording. The same thing
right.
is you want to make sure that when we go through it, each person. This is our first individual assignment. So in this case, what do you think was going to be Leah, what do you think our next assignment will be? It'll be a group assignment, taking all of it together, and then you can learn from each other. You learn about their topic area, plus you want to evaluate together this whole area of AI research assistant. What are its pros? What are its cons? How can they improve? And guess what? They're improving all the time. And will they have competitors? You betcha. But right now, Google set this up. They didn't think it was going to be so popular. It was like in their beta test phase, and a couple of guys put this together and they said, I don't think this is going to go anywhere. And especially when they did that it generated an AI podcast with two people bantering together. The first time when you hear it, you basically couldn't help but say, wow, how great is this? And Microsoft tried to get into it, and everybody else, and they're still the leaders. Notebook LM is still the leaders, and everybody, even in business, are trying to figure out ways in which they'll help. Think about all the readings now we have to do. Isn't it great? And we're also what we call multimodal. What do you think that means, multimodal, August? Multimodal is in learning, especially. Some people are really good in hearing. That helps them learn. Other people have to see something. Other people have to see a graph, right? People have different styles of learning. That's what's multimodal is, that some want to text, some want to have a conversation. You can do all of that in this type of software. Questions? So what do you think, Lucy? I think it's great, isn't it? Plus, it's going to help you study for the exam. Gee, she's giving me a gift. That's what I say. I wish I had it. Okay, so anyways, this is where it's going to go. Now, if I now want to show you something else, if we talked about it, let me just stop. When we talk about database, remember how we talked about database management? We talked about data, right? So if we think about it, let me just share with you here. And we'll use our own dog food here. Let me do this. What do you think this is? This is Google Notebook LM. I'm using data knowledge management. This is chapter 5, right? For my sources, all you have to do is add a source. I added the Rayner source. And how did I get the Rayner source? If I go to my regular section, where should I go for PTT and documents is right here. And under here, under PowerPoint. And under PowerPoint, you can see that the first chapter, right, was converted with a PPTX, was converted to a PDF. The rest are all PTX, right? So what do you need to do on that one? If I go to right here, this, you remember this was my chapter last time. This is my PPT, right? That we talked about, the database approach. What do we have to minimize? What do we have to maximize? You remember we talked about for database, I'm going to put my data all in one place. So it's going to be data redundant, that I'm going to minimize that. I don't want a lot of redundancy. Data isolation, I want my data to be available to everyone. Data inconsistency, if I have 12 different data of the same data, I want to reduce that data inconsistency. And you remember when I maximize, since I'm putting all my data together, I have to worry about the security of the data, the integration, to have it that I can trust the data, and that the data can be independent of the software. And all I have to do is simple, right? Is if I open up the PowerPoint, I just have to save it as an Adobe PDF. Everybody see that? So if I have to open it up as I save it as a PDF, I get that. And then all I need to do is my Notebook LM is I then can use that as the source. And look at this. I can then start typing just like I do in any type of chat, like ChatGPT. It'll store it. If I want to copy this to anywhere, I have a copy mode. It has the part right there in the beginning telling me about this text, giving me questions. Notice here I can copy the summary. I can save it as a note. How do organization transfer big data? What are the key differences, right? Data warehouse and lakes. Explain knowledge management. And look at this side. This is how I get my audio overview, which will generate an audio podcast. This is how I get a video overview, which will generate, how great is this? It'll generate an explainer video presented to you by AI. Here I can do a mind map. So what do I have to do? All I have to do is click it, see how it generates based on what? I only put one source here, that PDF. It'll generate it. Look how quick it does it. I click on it and it gives me a foundation. It tells me about data and knowledge management, managing data. You remember we talked about managing data? There's problems with that, right? If I extend it, what are the difficulties? Wow, isn't this great? Exponential growth, multiple sources. You remember we talked about data rot, that the data may not be accessible. It may have basically been corrupted. What are the difficulties of data? Security and regulations. If I'm in the banking sector, I have to worry about some banking legislation. If I'm in healthcare, I have to worry about healthcare regulations. If I'm in education, I have to worry about some education of what I can expose. Data governance. You remember we talked about data governance. Remember that's how to master data management, dark management. And then if I don't know about data governance, right, I can click on it and guess what? It's just like ChatGPT, then it can frame, it talks about what is data governance. This is amazing, isn't it? When you think about it. Now I want a video overview. So in this case, I want, so I get the foundation data to framework. I can get a number of these. So what do I have to do? Do an explainer video. I click on it. Notice here, I can a structured comprehensive overview that connects the dots with your sources. I can get a bite-sized one over you to help you quickly grasp the core ideas from your sources, right? I can choose my visual style. Isn't this amazing? I can have auto select, custom, and then what should the AI focus in? Target a specific use case, focus on a specific source. You can tell it, I'm a student and have to take an exam. Part of it's going to be a 60 question multiple choice. And then what do you have to do? You can put those in what you have to focus in, and guess what? Just like anything else, generate. And it'll generate that. This may take a while, and it'll generate the audio from you, from bits to wisdom. You can see that I've tried this a number of times. And then they, based on sources, it'll give me a little slideshow. This is a PowerPoint slides it gives me. Can you imagine how nicely, what did that take, right? That it'll give me then a power slides, and then I can continue on that. So you can see here that I have the aspect, and then if I ever go into it again, I can just do notebook, LM login, right? And I just can go into here. You can see notebook LM, and notice when I just say try, it'll load all my notebooks because I've been in it before. And notice I can go into my notebook. It has those 3 areas. And you can see here on the mindset, on the framework, right? And you can see generating those video overviews. You could even, how long it takes. A lot of times it'll take longer, right? So you want to be able to do it earlier. And then you can see here it has data knowledge management, information. It can give you your results. It can give you a briefing. It can give you videos. And then here, data, and this is 5 hours, managing the framework. Look how nice, data to wisdom. Look at these, how nice it is. Where here, you can think about the data knowledge management, that in big data, here data governance and organization-wide propose to manage information through clear rules and master data management. That's data. The 3 V's of big data: volume, velocity, and variety. Think about it in terms of large data sets, in terms of the stock market, high frequency trading. Think about it of the variety that you can have a number of social media accounts, YouTube. You think about the DBMS stands for Data Management Systems. And what does it say it does? Minimizes data redundancy, inconsistency, while maximizing security and integrity. I bet you there's going to be a question like that. And then you remember we talked about the data warehouse. And the data warehouse, we always talk about the data warehouse as being historical. And then this is structured data. This is primarily the business analysts. And then we have something called the data lake, which the primary users are data scientists and engineers. And in this case, we can think about it for discovery. And these are the types of ways in which they do it. Data mart, remember we talked about data mart is a scaled down version of a data warehouse and designed. So this is done. And then if you go back to my Google notebook, and I can try it here even, my Google notebook, it loads your data. I can look at my data knowledge. This is generating still. That's why you want to do things in advance. And here's this. So this is the explainer. So everybody see that? AI's data dilemma. So what's happening with AI? Here I have my brain, AI, and look at this.
Okay, let's get right into it. We're talking about one of the biggest challenges in business today, data management, especially now with AI in the picture. You see, AI has all this incredible promise, right? It's supposed to change everything. But here's the thing, its success, all of it, comes down to one single foundational piece. And if you mess this part up, well, even the most expensive, most powerful AI projects are absolutely 100% guaranteed to fail. So, to really get this, we're not going to start with some amazing AI success story. Nope. We're going to start with a massive, high profile failure. Because honestly, this failure tells us so much more about a core truth of modern business. We're talking about IBM Watson Health. IBM poured billions, literally billions, into the supercomputer that was supposed to completely change healthcare. The ambition was huge, but what happened next is a serious warning for every single company out there. So you have to ask yourself, how did this happen? How can a supercomputer that can beat the world's best chess players fail so badly at healthcare? It just doesn't seem to add up. But the answer, it wasn't that the AI was dumb, not at all. The problem was what it was built on. The foundation was cracked, and that foundation was its data. This right here is a lesson that every single one of you as a future business leader has to burn into your brain. Look, at the end of the day, it all came down to the data. It wasn't the AI's fault. Think about it. Watson was getting fed information from all over the place. Hospital records, scientific papers, clinical trials, you name it. But this data was a mess. It was inconsistent, it was unreliable, it even suffered from something called data rot, which is exactly what it sounds like. Data just getting old, outdated, and basically useless over time. So what's the bottom line? Watson simply couldn't trust the info it was getting. And if an AI can't trust its data, all those powerful analytics, they're completely worthless. All right, so to really grasp the new way of doing things, the playbook for AI, we first have to look back at the old one. For decades, companies had a very
And the Notebook LM did that. So what do you think, Kiko? Remember? And then you can get it, keep on going. So just like you do with ChatGPT, you keep on asking a question. You can say, now explain this to me. Now explain that to me. Now do it as a university student taking a business class or whatever you need. So let's eat our own dog food. Let's use our own chapters and entice it. And then the next part, the next week will be everybody have another chapter. You meet together as a group and then discuss it and see how you can make it better and better. One is for your exams, but for others, just even to teach others. Even you can make it can make a podcast, and you're part of the podcast. Then you carry the podcast. How cool is that? And the voice is really great, and then I mean it's convincing, and you can change it. You can say I want a female, I want male. This is the voice I want. You can go on and on.
So like
So
it could create a podcast professor, you said?
yes, it creates a podcast. And you have you can have two people in the podcast. You know, like how in podcasts, and they banter even. It's amazing. You know what banter means? It basically is, you know, how they joke together and there's a male and a female and they kind of laugh a little bit. It's really amazing. Plus you, as the user, can ask it, you can press a button and say, hey, I want to ask you a question. Can you explain this to me? Great question, they'll say. And then you can record it as you're going through. And you can do it on any subject. You can put a number of sources together. Any sources you want, you put it together. And you can add. The only thing is in Microsoft, you just have to convert it to a PDF because they're competing, you know? So they want you to use Google Docs or Google Sheets or something like that. But you can use YouTube and anything that you want, and it creates. And you can say, hey, I want it in depth. You can say, I want it shortened. I want it briefer. And then they have an audio of the podcast. You can go around with just listening to it and studying for the exam. You can be anywhere. And it can be tailored for you and your types of questions. Got it? That's the next one. I think it's amazing. Why not use it for us? So it's the opposite. Somebody was asking me earlier, they said, well, we're using AI. Can we use AI on the test? And I'm saying you can use AI to study for the test. But on the test, it will be closed notes, closed everything, and it will be what you know. But in preparation, you can use it. I want you to use it. Why not? We all have limited time, and you can frame it to how you learn the best, because everybody has different ways in which they learn. Anything else? And we keep on using whatever we've done before. We just keep on adding to it. And later on, we'll do voice agents. We'll create agents. We'll get our own telephone numbers. We'll program it to respond to phone calls. How great is that? I love it. Okay. Lily, anything? Comments?
No. I think you should have showed Notebook LM and HI, but
Okay. We did it in J.
yeah, that would have been a good idea. But we'll do that next time.
Yep. Well, they'll do it.
Yeah. So,
So we try out different ways. I like to try different ways.
yeah.
Then it becomes more interesting, right? Every class is the same.
Right. I think we're
And then
ready.
what I want to do next is have a teaching assistant, an AI teaching assistant, and it will teach with me. Why not? It has to be disrupted education, right? So I have my teaching assistant and have and then I want to have Lily a call in that they can call a number, and instead of asking when is the exam, right? They ask the caller, right? Remember I did 1-800-CHAT-GPT? They call 1-800 Dr. Rush, right? An exam, when's the exam? Well, I have a question about the exam, right? And for a lot of things, it can do better than me. And guess what? It can be 24/7. You want to call me, go to voicemail. This one will answer 24/7, 7 days a week, right? 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm studying. I forgot there was an exam tomorrow. That's how I think, education should be incorporated. And then when they think about it, then when do you need a professor? What are the points when you need them? I don't know. Well, everybody's worried about their job. I think professors should be worried about their jobs. Okay. So Lily, you want to do attendance?
Yes, I'm getting it set up now.
Great. Comments, questions? So what do you think, Felix?
Sounds like a lot.
What's a lot? That it covers a lot, you mean? The software?
Yeah. No, it looks good.
Yeah, it covers a lot. That's what's so great. And then that's what I want you to do for your assignment is cover all the aspects and see how it works. Okay. 6992. We'll see you on Wednesday. We'll cover security. Try it out before. I think you should try it out by Wednesday just to get a feel for it, What did you think, Ludovica?
I'm sorry, I'm doing
About
attendance. No,
the notebook LM.
I think No, I think it's really cool. Like the fact that it gives you all these options and tools, like the fact that you could like listen and you can see summaries and that like you can just plug in the PDF and it works with it. I think it's absolutely cool. And the fact that you could like the podcast thing is also super interesting.
Yeah,
So
and then you can. What I think is neat is that you can participate in the podcast. So not only that, you just
yeah,
press the button and go, "Hey, listen," or you say, "You know what? I'd like you to go down this route. And what about
super great
this?" Or
tool.
the professor said something, or I read here. Can you tell me? Because it also has an LM. It also has a large language model within it too. So it can go back to it. So you can question it, or you can say, "Hey, explain it to me a little bit better," or "I thought it was this way," or
Very,
give
very
me a
cool.
university example that I can understand as a student. So that's what I want you to do. Experiment, feel free. You know what I mean? And the beauty here is you're never wrong. What's it going to do? You just try it out this way. And then you also see what the problems are. There's problems. Did you see when I tried to generate a lot of times videos and things like that? It takes an awful long time. They need to improve on that process. And you can think about their servers and how much is this costing us? Is zero. So, there's paid versions where you can do more sources, and maybe in the paid versions you get better access, better speed access. But the idea is
Lily, I'm having the same problem with the attendance again because I'm in the library and even if I'm in the study pod, it won't work. So
I'll update it.
thank you so
Okay.
much.
My
Sorry.
pleasure. Let me just shut down. Okay, I think we got anything else, Lily, you wanted to say before I shut down the recording?
I needed
No,
to. Wait, nothing.
no, you can shut down all the recordings.
I'm going to shut down the recordings. I'm always